to The Marc Cox Show. Follow the show on Facebook. Facebook.com/The Marc Cox Show.
I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV.
Welcome back. I'm not a doctor, and I never played one on TV, but I know that Obamacare is a disaster, and you're seeing more evidence of it today as the stories continue to come out about these 25 and 30 and 40% price hikes for people who are stuck in this nightmare. And it must seem like a nightmare because for a lot of these families, they don't have an option. Yeah. I've said it before, Obamacare only works if you don't. Yeah. Or if you work at a job that doesn't pay you very much and you get the subsidy for it. But if you're above that level, you're facing what my friend is facing, where you got a $400 a month increase, in his health care expenses. Who can afford that?
No one.
A $5,000 a year increase in health care costs. It's absolutely crazy. Let me get to the phones here. Steve, how are you? Steve, are you there? Is Steve not there?
Thank you.
Go ahead. Sorry about that.
Yeah. I'd like to hear the real argument against single payer. I know we can say it's a government program, that government screws up everything. But, I'm on Medicare now. I've been on Medicare for 8 years. I've got a supplement. My wife has a supplement. And it's pretty effective. We haven't had a problem. The only problem with any of these programs is we've still got the insurance company stuck in the middle because we agreed, Obama and his team agreed, to keep the insurance companies on board. We don't need them. What do you need insurance companies for? Somebody explain this.
Who's paying for the cost of this, Steve?
Well, we all are, but we're paying for it either way.
No, not necessarily. You're taking away my choice when the government comes to me and says I'm going to provide. I don't want to pay for your health care or Chris Arps' health care or Liz's health care. We don't need bigger government. We need less government. The market will handle this problem. We could have dealt with the underinsured and the uninsured in a much more streamlined manner and left everybody else the hell alone.
I agree 100% with it. We should never should have had this in the first place, but we got it. And it's not going to go away. You're not going to get rid of it.
It's going to go away in some matter, but I'm still not sure how you can argue that us going to a single-payer system where the government is making all of these decisions for you is a good thing. You know what the wait time is for common procedures in Canada and Britain? It's months. Yeah. People die waiting, just like at the VA, they die waiting to get an appointment to get some procedure done.
And the older you get, they start rationing your care. If you break your hip or you have some type of procedure, the government looks at that and say, well, I don't know if we should spend all this money for you. You're kind of old. You don't have much longer to live. We should give this health care to a younger person. I mean, do you want your health care rationed?
So who does that today? The insurance companies do. The insurance companies do. They raise the rates for people that have a problem. As they get older, they're going to do everything they can to raise their. They got to cover their cost and their overhead.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not really debating it that much. I'm just trying to understand why we keep running single payer into the ground. But I think it could probably work if it's done right.
But here's why it can't work, Steve. Because in a private market, pressure is on the company to run that as effectively as possible. In a government-run system, there is no pressure because you have bureaucrats, Republican and Democrat, who don't care that we have a $20 trillion debt hanging over our head. They don't care when their system starts running out of money.
I agree.
They go in the backyard
I'm just trying to figure out what the benefit of insurance companies
they shake the money tree, and we're the money tree.
They can't compete across state lines now. It's a mess.
That's one of the reforms that people want.
Yeah, and I would argue, Steve,
they can negotiate with them. If the government could negotiate with them, they could drive all the rates down.
I disagree with that.
Government doesn't negotiate. They tell you what you're going to.
Right.
I'm talking about the insurance companies. If you keep the insurance companies in the middle, they agreed for Obamacare to not negotiate with insurance companies. Insurance companies charge what they want to charge. That was part of the Obamacare plan.
The other part of the Obamacare plan was to drive private health insurers out of the system, so the government option would be the only option.
think so. Okay,
I'm
you might be
convinced.
right.
Yep, thank you.
You might be right.
I appreciate the call. Thank you. I just don't see how anybody can look at the VA or anything else the government does and argue to me that they run it effectively. It's just one more bureaucracy where common sense gets lost. The TSA is a perfect example of it. We had to rush out and do that. The Democrats had to unionize it. It had to be pushed under Department of Homeland Security. And now it's a freaking nightmare. I'm sorry. I've brought it up before. But you know what? My redheaded wife doesn't need to be pulled out of line in the security line and frisked down for fear that she's carrying a bomb. Because the 19 people that brought down the Twin Towers and crashed those airplanes weren't white-skinned, redheaded people. Why do we not pick up on what they do in Israel and these other places with a little bit of common sense and get the PC crap out of it, and then you concentrate on the problem? But we don't want to do that in this country, and that's why you can never let the government run healthcare. We're gonna be Greece in maybe 15 years if that happens. At the rate we're going, it may be 20.
Yeah, and with Obamacare, which was supposed to hold down the cost, which it hasn't. I mean, if you have the government completely controlling healthcare, like you said, they're not going to worry about costs or anything. It's going to be even more out of control.
I will take my lumps for this again, but I'm going to say it anyway because this show is about the truth. And the truth is insurance companies are just like the casino down the street. They play the odds. Yes. And they have to give you health insurance based on their risk of taking you on as a client. And therefore, Chris's insurance premium might be different than my insurance premium. When you fit everybody into the same box, it doesn't work. And then if I go to my insurance company and I tell them, oh, by the way, I've already been diagnosed with lung cancer, but you have to insure me anyway, guess what? Chris's insurance premiums are about to go up because they're going to have to pay a hell of a lot more to take care of me. You can't force losses onto a private company and expect them to make money. They're in the business to make money. I'm not crying poor for insurance companies. They seem to be doing fine before Obamacare came along, but when you put these restrictions on them, they cannot operate at a profit without raising prices significantly, which is exactly what the liberals wanted. They knew how this would go, and now I think more quickly than even they believed would happen. It's starting to spiral out of control.
It's always the unintended consequences. Everyone thought it was a great idea that your kid can stay on your life insurance or your health insurance till you're 25. What a great thing this is. But then we realized later that your premiums jump way up when you do that. They acted like that you could put them on and it was going to be a reasonable cost. It's going to be much higher if you want that. There's going to be two things in the healthcare law that is good, that's never going to leave. That is the pre-existing conditions thing and being able to have your child stay on their healthcare until you're 25.
Try to go out and get auto insurance if you've had a DUI or two DUIs for that matter, right?
Right.
So in South Carolina, for example, when I lived down there for a while, you had to have insurance to drive. But if you had a DUI or something like that and you were uninsurable, they set up something called a reinsurance facility. Everybody paid a little extra on their premium. Not a lot. Right. It wasn't outrageous, but everybody paid a few extra dollars on their premium. It went into the reinsurance facility, and it subsidized insurance for the people who were uninsurable. My argument is the healthcare system, that's the answer to the uninsured in this country. The people who don't make enough money to afford to go out and buy insurance, that would be a much better way to handle it instead of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, which is just what you alluded to
That's
earlier.
what we had, what I read yesterday. You got 5 to 7 million people that can't afford the Obamacare insurance, and then you've got 10 million that are on the subsidies, that are basically on Medicaid. That's 20 million people that you could have done what you did, put together a fund and insure them through that fund instead of screwing up everybody's health insurance.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have gotten you to a single payer system, which is what these liberals were after.
Exactly.
I'm just saying. It's true. What's wrong? You're looking puzzled at me. I thought maybe I'd missed something. All right, Liz, thank you. Good. Chris Arps, it's a pleasure as always, my friend.
Good seeing you.
Thank you. Looking forward to seeing you again next Tuesday. And as always, if you're listening through the week and you got something to say, call in here. You know the guest line number.
I don't want to be a hog, so I just do my Tuesday thing, and then I'll text you and bug you.
Coming up in the next hour.